few months back, it was my great pleasure to read you all, over several weeks, that great Australian classic, The Songs of a Sentimental Bloke by C.J.Dennis, 1876 to 1938. The Bloke is one of Australia's best-known poems. Everyone's heard of it. A love story brilliantly written in slang verse. The lovers are Bill, the bloke, a Melbourne inner-city larrikin. He meets the beautiful Doreen, falls in love, and becomes a reformed character. The story ends with a couple on a little farm facing the bright and golden future, with a new little Bill in Doreen's arms. A really delightful scene, and that I thought was the final word on it. But I was wrong. There's more. A week or so ago, I was delving in the library, my favourite place, and lo and behold, I found a poem titled Possum, also by the great Dennis. It was a sequel to The Sentimental Bloke, and it tells of an ageing bloke, late 50s I guess, and beginning to feel his years. It's called Possum. No, it's not about those furry little long-tailed marsupials, but possumin, a verb common around the early 20th century, meaning the act of loafing around, taking it easy, extended smoko, what you will. I'm Kim Dodsworth, Queensland storyteller. Here's Possum by C.J.Dennis.
Just here it gripped me, on a sudden, like a red-hot knife. I was digging in the garden, talking pleasant to me wife, when it got me good and solid, and I fetches out a yell, and curses soft down in me neck, and breathes hard for a spell. Then when I tries to straighten up, it stabs me 10 times worse. I think perhaps I'm dying, and chokes back a real hot curse. I've worked too fast, I tells Doreen. Me backbone's running hot. I'm sick, I've got, oh, holy wars. I don't know what I've got. Just here, don't touch. Just round back here, a blazing little pain is clawing up me spinal cord and sliding down again. You come inside, she says. Perhaps it's stooping in the sun. Does it hurt much? I says, oh no, I'm having lots of fun. Then, cooing to me, woman-like, she pilots me inside. It stabs me every step I takes. I thought I could have died. There now, she says. Men can't stand pain. It's always understood. Stand pain, I howls. Then jumpin' jakes. It gets me really good. So I gets to bed in sections, for it gives me beans to bend, and shuts me eyes and groans again, and just waits for the end. Now you lie still, she orders me, until I think what's best. Perhaps hot bran or poultices. You just lie still and rest. Rest! Holy gosh! I clinched me teeth and clawed the bloomin' bunk, for a red-hot poker jabbed me every time I much as wunk. I couldn't cough, I couldn't move, I couldn't get me breath. Look after Bill, I tells Doreen. I feels that this is death. Death, fiddlesticks, she laughs at me. You just turn over now. I howls, here, don't you touch me, or there'll be a blazing row. I want to die just as I am. She says, now, Bill, have sense. This has to go on while it's hot. I groans, I've no defence. And so she has her way with me, and though I'm suffering bad, I couldn't help but noticin' the gentle touch she had. That evening when the doctor come, says he, hurtin' much? Where is the trouble? I says, where you ain't allowed to touch. He mauls and prods me while I howls to beat the bloomin' band. God blimey, I'd have cracked him if I'd strength to lift me hand. Describe your symptoms now, says he. I fills meself with wind and slung him out a catalogue while he just stood and grinned. Bah, he says, sciatica. We'll soon have you well. Sciatica, says I. You're sure you don't mean jumpin' hell? It ain't no private devil with a little jagged knife. Tut-rut, he grins. You'll soon be right. I leaves you to your wife. I looks at her. She smiles at me, and when I seen that smile, oh, poultices, I groans, and she enjoys it all the while. But I'm married to a woman, and I gives you my straight tip. It makes a man feel glad of it when sickness gets a grip. Her looks is full of tenderness, her ways is full of love, and her touch is like a blessin' as she gently bends above. Her speech is firm but motherin', her manners strict but mild. You're her husband, and her patient, and her little orphan child. When you're married to a woman and you're feelin' well and right, when your frame is full of ginger and your mouth is full of skite, then you talk about the missus in an offhand sort of way.
She's handy in the house if she don't have too much to say.
But when old man sciatica, he does you up real neat, then she's your own real mate, she is, and all your hands and feet.
And so Doreen, she nurses me while I lie there and grouch, for I'm snarky when I tumble that it ain't me dyin' couch. I barks at her and snarls at her and orders her about, and nearly wears the feet off her with trottin' in and out. And while old man sciatica, he has me in his sway, Doreen, she just gives in to me and always gets her way.
3 solid days I has of it, and then the pain lets out. I'm feelin' fit for graft again, and wants to get about. It's then she lets me see her hand and orders, you stay there until you get your health and strength to sit up in a chair. But there's that stove wood, I begins. Says she, now don't you fret, I'm very sparin' with it, and there's tons and tons there yet. Tell you straight, I got to like it. It's a crook thing to confess, but to have her fussin' round me give me chunks of happiness. So I gets out in the garden with an armchair and a rug, and I comes the floppin' invalid and makes meself real snug. I drips me eyes and hangs me hands and looks dead crook and ill, and wriggles every time she says, "What would you like now, Bill?" And then, one day, I hears the axe down there behind the house, and I sees myself a loafer, and me conscience starts to rouse. I heaves me frame out of the chair and wanders down the yard. She's beltin' at a knotty log, and beltin' good and hard. I grabs the axe. Give up, I says. I ain't no shattered wreck. This here's my job. And then, gorstruth, I gets it in the neck. Am I your wife? She asks me straight. Why can't you trust me, Bill? Am I not fit to see to things when you are weak and ill? I tries to say I'm Possumin and really well and strong, but every time I starts to talk, she's got me in the wrong. You can't deceive me, Bill, she says. Your health is fur from good. You just can't trust your wife to chop a little bit of wood. You gotta come out in the cold, she says, without your wraps, and now I'll have you on me hands for days with a relapse. I've been pretending, I explains. She says, am I your wife? Yet sooner than you trust to me, you go and risk your life. Well, I'm married to a woman, and it might seem sort of meek. I goes back into bed again and eats it for a week. And that was a sequel to The Songs of a Sentimental Bloke by C.J.Dennis. It was called Possum. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed reading it. Please tune in again next week and I'll bring you a short story of quality. Until then, bye for now.